You can tell a passion of a person by watching what they do in times of stress and duress. And we have a gentleman that's about to come speak to us right now who I had a chance to have a conversation with yesterday. I was so impressed with kind of his vision and how he looks out at things from a different lens. And he's a great champion for the disability community. But let me do his propers here. He is the United States Commissioner General at Expo 2020 Dubai. Commissioner General Clark leads the USA Pavilion and serves as a senior U.S. government representative to the government and the United Arab Emirates on issues related to Expo 2020 Dubai. And he has also served on the White House Preservation Committee, Board of Trustees to the University of Chicago Medical Center, the Central Institute for the Deaf and Loyola University, and the St. Louis Symphony Orchestra. I prayed he didn't know I played the cello, so, you know, I just, hey, yeah, not this one, but this one, right? And I was actually born in St. Louis, so Jewish hospital over there. He has served as a director for the Chicago Architectural Biennial Business Council of the Art Institute of Chicago, doing so many things for our community. Please welcome Mr. Robert Clark to the podium.
Thank you, John. My new friend, John Register. What a great introduction. And did you really jump out of an airplane with parachute? Unbelievable. You're so brave. I don't know if I could do that. So thanks for that warm welcome, and thank you just for having me here. We'll get to that in a second, but I do want to recognize St. Cloud co-directors in the Center of International Disability of Advocacy and Diplomacy, my friend Catherine Johnson, Amy Knopf, who you all know, the St. Cloud graduate students that are here or online, and Fred Moss, my friend in the audience here, who I've gotten to know well over the last week or so. And I know that you're all dedicated to this work of planning and preparing this amazing conference here at the USA Pavilion, and I greatly appreciate you having it here. This work for inclusive diplomacy that includes all individuals focused on promoting human rights is critical. It's historically significant and meaningful to do this work here at the USA Pavilion, at the Expo, and around the world. I truly am honored to be involved and included. And being included is a great feeling. To be known and included, John, that's what we talked about yesterday. That's what we all want. That's what we believe is right and just. To be welcomed and to be included without conditions, unconditional love, and to be treated with the golden rule is how I've always tried to live my life. I always also say, and I've said this to my children many times, I think the most important word in the English language is choice. We make choices every day to be our worst or best version of ourselves. But putting ourselves in your community's shoes, not everybody even has an opportunity to have a choice. That's what we're working here today to try to solve for and to correct and overcome. I am so impressed with the UAE, their efforts, their vision, putting the Expo together, the leadership here at Expo, and the incredible technology that they've created that has allowed millions of people who can't come due to COVID or due to other consequential disabilities, et cetera, to be able to access the Expo through technology, through video, and through these other resources is really critical. This is also a critical element to what John and I spoke about yesterday. And while there have been tremendous setbacks because of COVID, and this community in particularly has been negatively impacted, I think we're going to see, because I'm an ultimate optimist, that a lot of positive changes are going to come from COVID too. Working from home is one simple example that is going to be very, very impactful. The corporate world has had a mind shift in the last few years towards many critical issues that afflict millions of people, 1 billion people that are left on the sidelines. And I think now that we have government, federal mandate kind of attention, we also can rely on, I think, the business community in a way like we never have before. When it's in their self-interest, they will solve the problem. And today, like never before, they're addressing issues of racism and disability in a new way. And I've spoken to many of the Fortune 500 corporate leaders, people like Michael Neidorff at Centene Corporation, who are deeply thinking about all of these issues. And I think was doing a great job before at Centene, but today, like never before, they're giving people access to work from home. And I think that will be impactful to everybody in the world. So as hard as the Expo people have worked to make this a tremendous success, I do want to acknowledge that yesterday was a disaster for a lot of people getting in here. They were a victim of their own success, too much success yesterday, I think. And we had an incredible crowd here. But nevertheless, the UAE's vision is about inspiration, connectivity, sustainability, mobility, and opportunity for all. The works of the UAE over the last 50 years, which have really been highlighted by the Jubilee, shows what great ambition, vision, and willpower can achieve. This is my wish for this cause today, to take the example of the last 50 years of what's been achieved in the UAE, like probably no place else in the world, and propel this cause over the next 50 years, but we don't want to wait 50 years. We want to get there as fast as we can. So I think that I will leave you with this one thought that is a learning that I've had from being here at the Expo. A new kind of word for me, I'm sure not to all of you, is this people of determination. And again, in our really short but deep conversation that John and I had yesterday, we talked about this progression of the handicapped person, the disabled, became the disabled, became people of determination. But what the real goal is to be people that are included. Included. That's the critical word. This is what we want to achieve, and I want to help you achieve it. Let's achieve it together. Thank you, and I hope you had a great, great conference here at the USA Pavilion, and thank you for holding it with us. Appreciate it. Thank you.
We've had a fantastic day. Is that about it? We're going to begin to kind of shut this down. I've been taking all these notes and just you see them over my phone and just trying to put these notes into some type of form that we can push this out. It was Dr. Harry Edwards. He's a sociologist out of Cal Berkeley. And of course, we know Cal Berkeley is home of the independent living movement that was there. And when you're talking about sustainability with inside of trying to get something that's been established to remain or to actually advance, I was really trying to understand this through a lens of why I could build one program, which was for military injured service persons, and could not build another program, which was youth with disabilities. And he said, as I met him right before the Super Bowl for the other football, which is the one thrown and kicked in the United States, he said that, John, you can't build it because you need 3 things in place. He said the first thing you need to have is a dependable and a developed pipeline of talent. Do you have a dependable and developed pipeline of talent? When I looked at Paralympic and the youth, I said, no, I don't have that pipeline of talent. He said, secondly, you have to have a persistent and a pervasive demand. That means somebody is advocating for those individuals, the talented individuals, to advance them forward, and we're going to advocate for them. So we have those that are saying nothing about us without us, you know, like we want to be in the room where it happens, but we also have to have advocates, you know, like the government, or maybe philanthropists, or those individuals who see the value and the benefit for themselves, not only for themselves, but for the entire community to move forward. And third, he says that the institution that's being impressed upon to change actually has to want to change. And when you have all of those three things in alignment, you can begin to increase and build. And so that's why the military program was exploding. It was going so fast because we had a pipeline of talent, we had a pervasive demand, and the institutions impressed upon a change, wanted to change, and it was easy. For the youth, however, we had ableism that was coming in. We had attitudinal barriers that were blocking us from actually having the inclusion, having that sense of belonging inside of that inclusion community. And when you don't have that, the institution being impressed upon to change, usually what we get is a quota system. We begin to pick and choose who we're going to have to represent that industry. Now, all of you in here are part of that pervasive demand, in my opinion, demanding that this talented pipeline that we have of people with disabilities are going to enter, or demanding for our talented pipeline entry into the institutional change that we are all after. Yes, nothing about us without us, and yes, advocates and allies. We need both. It's a yes and some game that we have here. To the question that was to the New York office, is she still in the room here? I can't really see on the back. She had to leave. Okay, I know Victor Khaleesi from the New York office as well. And I think it happened in one of the questions and the responses on the deaf panel that we had earlier, that New York, the premise must be to start by inviting all groups to the table. The deaf and hard of hearing need to be at the table. In the words of Aaron Burr, sir, and Alexander Hamilton, need to be in the room where it happens. We need to be at not only at the table, but actually a voice at the table. One of the things that I teach, and when I'm doing my business, is I don't really focus in on the teams so much. I focus in on individuals, because in teams and communities and groups, it's very easy to hide. So there's only a few voices that will ever pop up, and because those voices pop up, we tend to go to those voices all the time. We need to not only be in the room where it happens, but to have voice where it happens as well, to be part of the dialogue, to be part of the solution. And that's an action step that each one of us can take. Action steps need to be activated on. And the reason we are not at the table is because others feel as if they know best for the community. And then we that are in the room don't speak up to say that, no, my voice needs to be heard in this community. So it's on both of us as we're talking about building these bridges. The United States Olympic and Paralympic Museum, which is in Colorado Springs, Colorado, one of the amazing things that they did was they recognized very early on, before the ground was even broken, that they needed to have representation for the Paralympic athletes and the Olympic class athletes at the table to build this building. When they were first designing it, it looks like a discus thrower throwing a discus in a spin, which spirals up. They wanted all the exhibits to start on the ground floor, and everybody would roll up or walk up the exhibit. The Paralympians said, it's really hard to push a wheelchair up a hill, up a ramp, 3 flights. How about we reverse it and come down the ramp? So now the tour starts with an elevator lifting up everybody, every single guest with the experience, who has gone through a system of registering their credential as they come into the location, and the credential will allow them to experience the exhibit at their own level. So if you're deaf, you can experience it. If you're sighted, you can experience it. They have captioning, they have everything that you need to move through the exhibit. And this is how we need to think about it as we activate forward. If somebody of our community is not represented, why? That's the first question. And then how do we get them at the table? Stop the project until we find a way to get them a seat at the table. It's not a money conversation. One of the questions I heard about here, it's a values conversation. It's a values conversation. Do I actually value the people that I need at the table to make a more informed decision, to the 15% of our world global population, to increase who we are. Because the economic buying power, as we heard earlier, is over $7 trillion of discretionary income that people with disabilities around the world have. Siv said something during the deaf community that was speaking up here today. He said about building bridges and building the bridge halfway for the person with a disability and another bridge coming the other way from the kind of the temporarily able-bodied community, as I will call them. And it reminded me of a poem, and if you will indulge me just for a second, called The Bridge Builder by William Drumgold. And it says, an old man was going along a lone highway, and he came at the evening, cold and gray, to a chasm that was vast and wide and steep, with waters that were rolling cold and deep. The old man crossed in the twilight dim, but those sullen streams had no fears for him. Yet he turned when he was safe on the other side, and he built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you're wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with each ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed that chasm deep and wide. Why are you building this bridge at eventide? Well, that builder lifted his old gray head. A good friend, in the path I've come, he said. There follows after me this day a youth whose feet must pass this way. And that chasm that was as naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. And he too must cross in the twilight dim. So, good friend, I'm building this bridge for him. As I was thinking about this, we build bridges. The bridge to you, and you must build the bridge to me. Our company, Inspired Communications International, talks about our vision is to inspire worlds. And the reason why we inspire worlds is because each one of us has a sphere of influence that we enact upon in our own lives. And these spheres of influence, they interact with each other. And we in this room create great ripples that will go out from us. But the more important thing, I think, is when those ripples hit the resistance, the barrier, they come back to us as echo moments. Echoes return to us. Echoes are heard from dolphins in the water, mammals in the water. They send out sonar, and the sonar comes back to tell them where the food is, to where the fish are. We also see this in the visually impaired community, in the blind community, that use echolocation by doing clicks in order to hear how large a space is or how small a space is, and they can navigate almost as if like they're seeing their ears become their eyes. Echoes also come back to us as course corrections. What are we hearing out in the distant future that's telling us how we are to respond right now in this moment in time, going back to the original premise of what we said earlier at the start, going from a mindset to a mindsight by Dr. Siegel and the Mindsight Institute. How do we put that together? So we say our company values to inspire worlds, and we say go forth and inspire your world. Why? Because go is your command, forth is your direction, inspire is your vocation, it's the work, your because only you can do this work, and world because it's your sphere of influence. So happy 50th anniversary, United Arab Emirates. Happy UN International Day of Disability Awareness Day. My name is John Register, two-time two-sport Paralympian, combat veteran, and advocate for the whole entire disability community. And I got something else to say. And a great big sponsor. I love all this stuff. You got to get the sponsors in our. And a great big thank you to all of our sponsors, platinum level sponsors, Sorensen for the signing, gold level sponsors, Expo 2020 Dubai, UAE, the USA Expo 2020 Dubai, and this pavilion that we have here, the Department of State, United States of America, silver level sponsors, St. Cloud State University, and bronze level rehabilitation studies, St. Cloud State University as well. And from all of us, we say God bless you to each and every one of you, and we'll see you over at the next one, hopefully at St. Cloud in Minnesota, inshallah. Okay, my name is John Register. Salam alaikum.